What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this episode of G4 Outdoors. Sorry for all the echo in here. It's really cold outside, so everything's going to be done in the garage. But stick around for this episode because I'm going to show you how to take the deck off of your time cutter. That way it'll be easier to maintain, take your blades off, change spindles if you need to, any sort of maintenance that needs to be done under the deck. Stick around.
Off on the love of guitars, girls, green grass, and guns. Yeah.
All right, before taking your deck off, there are some things that you need to do before you start the process. On the Toro TimeCutter, it does have an electronic brake on it. Not only in the handle is there a brake, but it's in the ignition as well. So if this thing is on run, there's a secondary brake that is off. If it's on the off position, then that secondary brake kicks in, and you can actually hear that. Like a modern car, once you step out of it, you'll hear a little, anyway, it's secondary brake. So before you start, please take the key out of the ignition and undo your spark plugs. In the unlikely event that you're spinning a blade, pulling on your pulley, and that motor actually rotates, you're going to lose a finger or you're going to get seriously hurt just by that thing camming over. So be sure to take the key out and undo your spark plugs before you start. First step to taking the deck off is you're going to want to lower it to its lowest cutting setting. Now right up here you have the front support rod, which runs all the way back to the front of your deck. And what you're going to do is take that cotter pin out of there and remove that rod from your deck. And keep track of your cotter pin, that way you don't lose it. Now here on the left side of the machine, you do have 3 cotter pins holding the lift system in place. The top one, middle one, and bottom one. The one that is attached to your deck is the one you're going to want to remove. So remove your cotter pin and your washer. And then you need to be careful when doing this. Gloves are probably recommended. This stuff is under just a little bit of pressure, even though it is all the way on the ground. But what you're going to do is slide this away from the machine, and that will pop off of this bracket back here. Now again, as with up front, put your washer back on there and your cotter pin so you don't lose it. Now let's go do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, just like on the left side, the right side is the same way. You have a hidden cotter pin up here, a middle one, and a bottom one. Take the bottom one out, take your washer off, and slide this aside. Now, being this is the last one, it will probably have the most pressure on it. So you lift up on your deck just a little bit and pull that off, and be very careful because that will fall on your hands. Ow. Put your washer back on and your cotter pin, not to lose them. Okay, after you've got all of your pins out, you're going to want to push the mower deck back just a little bit. That'll do. All right, so what we're looking at back here is the very back of the motor. This is your motor pulley that operates your deck. Being you push the deck back, now we have a chance to grab a hold of this belt and just slide it off of that pulley. Now your deck is completely free. So we've removed 3 cotter pins, moved the deck back, taken the belt off from the motor. Now it's as simple as just scooting the deck from underneath the mower. That is as simple as it is for removing the deck. All right, now just as easy as you took this off of here, it really is just as easy to put it back on. If you stored your cotter pins, go ahead and take the pin out and the washer. And this will take a little bit of muscle to get this moved around, being it's laying on the floor. Nothing holding it up. So what you're going to do is get that pin lined up with that hole and slide it on in there. Put your washer on, cotter pin, make sure it's on there. This side is done. Let's go over to the other side. Now again, on this side, it is resting on the ground. There's a little bit weight held up by the other side. But again, if you've stored your cotter pin on there, take that and the washer off. Line that up. Line the silver piece up with this hole right here. Might take a couple hands. This can be done with one person. And that'll slide right into place. Put your washer on, your cotter pin in, and make sure that's on there secure. Let's go to the front. Now up here up front, if you've stored your cotter pin again, take it out, take the washer off, and maneuver this rod back into this hole. Stick the cotter pin back in. Make sure it's secure, and actually I'm going to put that in the other way so that it doesn't want to fall out. I'm doing this blindly, but it's easier than it looks, guys. All right, there we go. Now it's not going to fall out that way. Make sure your cotter pin is in there securely. Now, let's move to the back. So now that everything is routed the way it's supposed to be, now is when you're going to want to wrap. Is this recording? Yes. Now is when you're going to want to wrap the belt around the engine pulley. Now this can be a little bit of a booger. Two people would help, but you can definitely do it with one person. What I recommend is getting one side started like that. Now up front there is a tensioner pulley. Well, that fell off that pulley again. You're going to want to keep everything tight. So start one side on this pulley. Just give a little tug and you will loosen up the pressure on that front pulley, and then that will slide right on over. Now everything is right back to where it's supposed to be. Everything is hooked up and you're good to go. Now, like I said before, be sure to read that diagram, and before you power your mower back up, make sure that each one of these belts are on the pulleys, because doing this by yourself, you do lose a little bit of tension in the belts, and you may not get every belt onto every pulley like this. So as you can see, as I was doing that on the back, this belt right here slipped underneath. So nothing's going to happen to it. But luckily there is a spring tensioner in here. So again, all you're going to have to do is slide one piece over the belt, just like this, and continue to rotate. And be very careful, do it slowly, and that belt will right itself right back up on to the pulley like that. Now we have a strong belt. And that's why I recommend always checking your work before you re-engage the blades. So now that we're all hooked up, next thing is to do is don't forget to reinstall your spark plugs, put the key on, and we'll see if this thing fires up and runs right. recommend doing that with the garage doors closed, but everything's put back together. Guys, it is that easy to take this belt off and put it back on. If there's any other questions that you want to know about this mower, leave a comment down below in the comment section. I will have this mower for quite some time, thanks to Toro. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. I will see you in the next one. I'm out.
Well, as I look up and I ask, can I please just catch a break? I got my rod and my reel and I'm headed to the lake. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I just dream of fishing while I'm going through my workday. I listen to my boss, though he's driving me berserk. Damn it, I can't take much more because my brain is really hurting. And now the bank is always calling and I don't know what to do. And I haven't bought a crankbait since like 1992.